thank you, Brian, and to Reggie for the wonderful performance, and very evocative. It made me think, Sophocles wrote, release me, thousands of years ago, and it took me back to being a third-year medical student and seeing the dynamics between families who did not want to let go and the patient who, wanted to be released, and this terrible turmoil that this was causing the family and the patient, and it's nothing new. It was recorded, and we can relate to it, and that's the profundity of theater, and particularly that intimate experience. Dr. Foley, tell us about your experience with new media and what it can do, because we're seeing clips and we're seeing theater, but what happens when you're alone or you get some bad news? What new kinds of new media ways are there for us to continue the conversations or to find some support?
There's now multiple approaches, and so I think one has been for patients particularly to do their own storytelling. And so there's a website called Caring Connections, and a patient can sign up for Caring Connections and have their own ability to tell everyone around them what's happening with them, and for those who are supporting them to then write in. And so instead of having to have 10 conversations explaining what the doctor said and what treatment you're getting, they're an incredible, powerful source of being able to let the patient tell everyone what they want them to know. And then, and amazingly, teenagers have used this probably more than anyone else. But you're just seeing it expand, and it's so powerful because it's such a support mechanism for individuals. So that's sort of one approach. At the other level, recognizing how common depression is in patients at the end of life. Either they're demoralized or they're depressed, and there are distinctions between the two, but whatever. And drugs take weeks often to work. And so there's been the development of what's called a dignity therapy, in which patients are interviewed by a psychiatrist, but now it can be probably any counselor. And they're taken through sort of a structured interview in which they can tell what they want to those that they're leaving behind. And it's about trying to restore to them their dignity. And in this, patients, the patient's interview is recorded. It's immediately typed up, given back to the patient, and ask them to make corrections. And they make then decisions about who it should be given to. And now, literally in randomized controlled trials, it's demonstrating that this is an incredibly powerful way to address distress in patients who are facing the end of their life. So it's another mode, and it's all about storytelling. It's all about these powerful narratives of individuals that in some cases ask forgiveness, and in others simply wish to tell their story or what they want to be remembered for or to whom. And they can determine who sees this. It can be confidential or it can be dispersed, and it's amazingly powerful.
So thank you. So the power of new media can really augment the experience in ways that we didn't have before, and to really help us use our stories, because we certainly know that storytelling is healing. We know that from the therapeutic experience that someone has seeing their therapist when they're depressed, or if someone goes to Al-Anon or AA and they hear stories over and over. It's a very healing process to know you're not alone, to hear other people's stories, and that is a way of kind of putting that group experience out into the webosphere. It can be very powerful from what you're telling us.
Yeah.
And your experience in working in this area too.
I'd like to end by talking about where we go from here. I'm really struck by the 4 different models that we have seen of ways in which we can work with the arts to help change attitudes and shape the dialogue around end of life. Brian, you go right into the community and you engage, not one-on-one, but with small group, relatively small groups. On the other end of the perspective, you're creating television shows, films, documentaries that are reaching great numbers of people and bringing all kinds of insight to it. Kathy, you're working through the medical system itself and with an important organization to increase awareness inside the medical community. I think the final piece of the puzzle that I'm engaged in is education. I'm an English professor. I see the humanities as a great new audience to educate about such issues. It should not just be in the hands of the medical profession. It should not just be in the hands of popular media and the film. We need to engage our students in thinking about these kinds of questions in a way that we haven't done before as a university.
Thank you.